to make a content region. So I'm going to copy this text here. I'm going to go down below my nav here because I want this content region to sit right next to my nav. I'm going to paste that, but I'm going to change the name of it to content. And I'm also going to copy the closing div tag so it will close up like that. And my picture is going to go right in between there and right in my content area. Okay, so I've made the div tag, but nothing happens over here because I have to style it first. So I'm going to go ahead and style my div tag by adding a new CSS rule down here. Click on this little plus sign and go to ID and number sign content. Make sure it goes into my style sheet. Click OK. And now I'm going to style what that box is going to look like. So I'm going to go to my background again just to give myself some idea of what the color or where it's going to be. And that's a little bit too close to that green, so I'll make it a bright yellow. And the box, I'm going to make it 490 because I know that that's what I need to fit in here when I take into account what I have for my nav over here. My height, just for now, I'm going to stick at 400. And the float on this, I'm going to float it to the left. Okay, so that means that this nav, this div tag is going to float and just kind of stick against. It's kind of like blocks piling up on each other from the left to the right. Okay, and that should be all I need to do with that. Click OK, and there it is. It pops right in there. Now, what is that? That's just an area that we can style with different background images, color, text, whatever, and then we can also put our graphic in there. So I see that my cursor is ready to go right in here. I'm going to insert an image now. So one way to do that is in our insert palette. Get there by window insert, and I'm going to go find an image by clicking on insert images, and then there's this little drop down here. I'm going to select image, and it's automatically going to pop open a window where I'm going to start looking for an image. And I'm just going to, I think I have some JPEGs on here where I might find myself, maybe. Let's see what I can find. There's something that's a JPEG. Let's see what else that might work. Now I have it as Hazlet Web JPEG, so somewhere in my past I made something that was compressed for the web. We're going to get into the whole compression thing, but you might bring in a file that's huge and you need to compress it, make it smaller before you want it on the web. For now, we're not going to worry about that. Find some kind of JPEG that hopefully isn't too large, and when I click on choose, I get this dialog box that says that the file is outside the root folder of site homework and might not be accessible when I publish the site. So it says, would I like to copy the file into my site now? Yes, I do want to do that because I want this to all be contained within my site. So I click on yes, and it's going to copy this file into my homework folder, but I want to make one more folder here. I'm going to call it images. So I'm going to stick it into my images folder. So now I have my picture inside my images folder, which is in my homework folder. Okay, click save. And alternate text, it's always a good idea to put this down for people that have trouble seeing the website. This is going to read this text to them through screen readers. Okay, I'll click OK. And there it is. This is my family from quite a while back. And actually a long time ago, maybe 10 years ago or so. So here we go. I've got my image, and it's just kind of popped over here to the left. I kind of want to add some space around it. So what I'm going to do is actually create a new style to move this image around. So I'm going to use a class style. So I'm going to click on CSS rule, and I'm going to go to class this time. Now a class can be used over and over and over again. So if I had a lot of pictures on here, I would use this class and just define it once, use it over and over again. So I'm going to click OK. What do I want the class to do? All I really want the class to do is float this image to the right this time, because I want it to just come over here to the right a little bit. And I'm going to add a little bit of padding around the image itself. And in this case, margin, because the box is actually the image right now. So I'm going to add, let's say, 15 pixels at the top, and well, let's add 15 all around. Okay. So when I apply that, click OK. Nothing happens because what I need to do is select the class. Right now it's not defined as a class. I'm going to go up to Window, Properties, and with my image selected, I'm going to pull down Class here. This is why we can use this over and over and over again. So I click on that, there it goes. It popped it over just the way that I wanted it to be. Alright, so I've got an ugly background on here. I think I'll get rid of that. So I'm going to go into my content, go over here, and just get rid of the background there. And let's say for my assignment, I want to also change that a little bit. Instead of having this blue background, let's say that what I really want is to have some kind of a dotted line along here. So first of all, I think I'll go to my nav, and I'm going to double click it so I can open it up. This time what I want is, instead of the background being a color, I'm going to get rid of the color there, and I can apply it and it disappears. I'm going to go to border and give myself a little bit of a border on the right hand side, let's say. So on the right, I'm going to deselect this, I'm going to select just right. I'm going to give myself a dotted line, and the width I'm going to make thin, and the color, I think I'll sample this purpley color up here, and I'll apply that. And now it created this dotted line, but what it did when I made that dotted line, this is interesting, it popped my content region out, because that dotted line actually had some width to it. Even though it was kind of skinny little thing, it had a little bit of width to it. So what I need to do is go click OK. But then this happens all the time, so you need to be aware of this. When things pop out like that, you need to be able to fix them. So I'm going to go back to content area, and I'm going to guess that that dotted line was only 1 pixel wide. I'm going to try 489, and it did pop it right back in. So that dotted line that I created, which we'll see in just a minute, was actually 1 pixel wide, which bumped our content region out. Okay. Now some other things that I might want to do, since this dotted line, let's look at live view here a second. It's very tiny. It's almost unrecognizable. So I want to make that a little bit bigger. I'm going to go into my content, or yeah, where was that? My nav. And so instead of dotted thin, I'm just going to use my properties right in here and make it, let's say, thick. And now I've got this dotted line that's really thick. But again, it popped my content region out. So I've got to go back to my content. I'm going to drop this down probably to 487, I'm going to guess. That didn't work, so let's try 485. There we go. Popped it up in there. Alright, the only other thing I want to do with this dotted line is maybe stretch it the rest of the way down. So I'm going to go into my nav. I'm going to go to my dotted line, and actually the height of this box needs to change. So I'm going to make the height 500, and let's see what that does. That goes way down there. Let's make it 470. See what that does. Oh, 4700. That's big. Alright, somewhere in there. We're going to style things a lot more than what we're doing right here, but I just want to give you the idea that you can add some different types of looks using just dotted lines. Or we could click on this dotted line, we could go to a let's say a solid double line, and there's our little double line. Alright, so we got a picture in, we've got homework for Prof. Hazlett, summer 1. Okay, so the assignment doesn't have, let me go back to live view here a minute. Okay, the assignment has a link of as1.html, but that file does not yet exist, and we've got a little bit of time here. So what I'm going to do is make that file, and this should give you what you need in order to continue to work. Now, one other thing I want to show you about when I styled this content box with the photo. When we did that, I'm going to start typing. All right. It pushes my photo down. You can see how that's working. If I would have a whole bunch of text here, and I'm going to just do something like that. That's if these are real words. And what I'm going to do is try to get that photo back up where it belongs. So I'm just going to grab it and pull it up to the beginning up here. And now you're going to see how this type is going to wrap around. Now, problem here is that I'm using these funny letters that have, or words that have all kinds of letters in them. This is how you get word wrap. Okay, so if I would say this is my first web page, you can see how the word wrap is working. Okay, it'll wrap around there like that. Okay, last thing here is we've got an assignment 1, and we need to go there because we got this link to it. If I select this, I look down at my links, I do have a link to it, but there's no page there. So I'm going to save all, which is going to save my style sheet and my page. And let's view it in a browser real quickly. It's a good thing to do that every now and then. I'm going to refresh this. And in the browser, it's looking like this. There's a little bit of a glitch here. We're going to fix all that stuff at a later date. But for now, we're getting a page online. I'm going to quickly do a new page. So I've saved this, and what I want to do now is make another one. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this Assignment 1. AS1 is what I called it. So I've got to have the same name up here as I have it linked to. So I'll click Save. And just to, in the interest of time, I'm going to just put Assignment 1 here. Alright. And I think I want to make another link, which is going to go back to my homework page. So I type in homework, select it, go here, homework.html. So now I ought to be able to scroll back and forth between the two pages here. Save it. Let's view it quickly. I'm running out of time. So I've got a homework and I've got an assignment 1, homework, assignment 1, homework, assignment 1, homework, assignment 1. Those are actually two different pages even though we haven't changed the content. Okay, so we've got that. Quickly now we're going to upload this. We're going to go to Site, Manage Sites, make sure we're in the right place, and then we're going to go to Window, Files, and I'm going to connect. I am connected. I'm going to go into, make a new folder here called Homework. I'm about out of time. I'm going to grab all of the files, pull them over into my homework page, and they just uploaded. Now I'm going to go into the browser really quickly. And the way I'm going to get to this is go to students.westliberty, and this is how you'll do it too, .edu/vlavorini. This is actually going to be your name, and then homework, and then homework.html, and there it is. That's the path name to my site.